The Crypto Clarity Act was just delayed, and depending on what happens next, this could either be a very bullish or very bearish thing for crypto. As most of you know, the Clarity Act was supposed to be approved today, but unfortunately there was some things that were added to the bill last second, which caused quite a bit of disagreement. And as you can see here, the US Senate is planning to restart their crypto market structure discussions tomorrow, and they have yet to give any clear information on when this bill could potentially be approved. Now, I do believe that the reason that this happened was because Brian Armstrong, who is the CEO of Coinbase, made a post on X with quite a few critiques to this bill. As you can see here, there was a bunch of issues that he said that he could not fully support, and some of those include a de facto ban on tokenized equities, which in my opinion would be a terrible thing for the overall future of crypto, especially for projects like Ondo. Also, you can see that they added something into the bill that would be giving the government unlimited access to your financial reports and removing your right to privacy. This would of course be very negative for coins like Zcash, ICP, and Litecoin, who have been building their layer 1s around the privacy narrative for quite some time now. They also added something that would give the SEC more authority over the CFTC, which is of course not what we want and what we were fighting the Gary Gensler administration for multiple years. And last but not least, they drafted an amendment that would kill rewards on stablecoins, allowing banks to basically ban their competition. So in my opinion, although this Clarity Act being delayed in the short term does add a lot of uncertainty and is slightly affecting the price action of these coins, I do think that it is for the better that it is delayed, and I really do hope that they can work to remove these negative things from the bill. So at this point, I think that all that we can do as investors is continue to monitor the situation and see what ends up happening tomorrow. Now, if it does seem like the bill is going in favor of crypto investors and they give a clear date on a potential approval, that is when I believe that Bitcoin and crypto can start to price in this bullish catalyst. And I do believe that that is why Bitcoin had a pretty significant run in the past couple of days. As you can see, just earlier this week, we were at 90,000 and we got to as high as $98,000 within just the past couple of days. If I had to give a prediction on what I expect to happen in terms of price because of this event, I think that we could see some bullish momentum return to markets as soon as we have a bit more clarity on when this bill will be passed. And once this bill is passed, I could see a potential sell the news event take place where we actually do see a short-term correction in the price of crypto. However, guys, the Crypto Clarity Act is undoubtedly a long-term bullish catalyst for the overall market. As long as this bill goes according to plan, it should clarify the jurisdiction between the SEC and CFTC, which would end years of regulation by enforcement and reduce lawsuits and abrupt actions. This would in turn bring a lot more innovation back into the United States and just make the overall environment much more pro-crypto. That is why it is very important that this bill goes back into the discussion phase, because the fact that there was something added to the bill that would potentially give the SEC more authority than the CFTC, that is of course not what we want as crypto holders. Also, the Clarity Act will create clear rules around crypto, which should attract traditional finance institutions, allowing banks to engage more deeply and bringing institutional capital onshore. This of course is absolutely huge, and I believe this could drive the overall market cap of crypto significantly higher. And last but not least, clear regulations could enable the tokenization of hundreds of trillions in traditional assets, making blockchains like Ethereum and Solana vastly more valuable. Guys, this is a huge one in my opinion, especially if you are invested into these coins. I am a big Solana bull, and I do believe that if this does happen, we could potentially see as high as a $500 Solana at some point this year. But of course, that is not financial advice. That is just my opinion. So I know that it's a bit upsetting that we have to continue to wait for this bill to be passed, because most of us crypto investors have been waiting on this bill for basically the last decade. But guys, I do think that these revisions will be worth the wait, and I do think that this will end up being an incredibly bullish catalyst for the overall market. So just keep your fingers crossed that these lawmakers will fight for what's right for us crypto holders. But alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to stay strong, stay bullish, and and ignore the FUD, and I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow. Peace.